Alright, welcome back to DC Review Part 2. I had to end it because I had to go to the bathroom, but here I am back. I'm perfectly fine. Okay, now with the mini-series and the cancel stuff and the stuff still being published right now. Okay? First, let's talk about the mini-series. First up is All-Star Section 8 by Garth Ennis. Even though it's spun off of characters from the Hitman series, which I have not read, by the way. I'm sorry I haven't read it. People who are fans of that series, I just haven't had a chance to read the mini series to read. I think the series was okay. And yes, I do know about the Six-Pack and Dogwire mini series that came right after this. It was a follow-up to this one. I thought the series was just okay. Nothing really to write home about. Yeah, that's the thing about that series. Okay, Batman. Yeah, this series. Ooh boy. Starting out, first issue was really good, last issue was really good, but the issues were in between just okay. Nothing against Dan Jurgens, I just didn't feel like though that he was, well, it was just okay. But nothing against Dan Jurgens, but some of the issues are just plain awful. I'm like, what the heck, Dan Jurgens? Bizarre, I really enjoyed. Yeah, Heath Horton. This was just a pure fun series to read. Yeah, I enjoyed every single issue of it a lot more than I did Batman, despite the fact that this was written Jurgens, not this guy. But yeah, Doomed, a series that was initially slated as an ongoing series, but was cut down to 6 issues, probably due to low sales. Probably due to the fact DC was getting scared. Yes, this is actually one of several series I've seen where they get cut down by certain issues because DC was scared of the sale figures DCU had. I'm not exactly sure how many issues the series was supposed to have, but starting out, this series was just awful. Later on, the series they get better, but good God, it's like, what the heck was Scott Lobdell doing with this? I mean, yeah, it was spinning out of what will happen with the Superman Doom crossover, but good God. And of course, the character did later on appear in the pages of Teen Titans for a few issues before Will Pfeiffer had to abruptly leave the series without properly concluding his own story. And of course, the depowered Superman did show up for the last couple issues of the series. Even Wonder Girl. Yeah, and it was even implied, though, that he had a thing for frickin' Wonder Girl of all people. Yeah, for Girl. Next, of course, is Green Lantern Lost Army by Cullen Bunn. Initially, this series, like Doomed, was initially listed as an ongoing series, but was cut down to 6 because of low sales. As a matter of fact, what was going to be issue 7, I think that got turned to issue 1 of Green Lantern Edge of Blink, which I'll get to that soon. This series was a continuation of Green Lantern Corps, having them go to a different universe in the past. And one of the most funniest things about the series was in issue 1, you had the whole Christmas Lantern thing with Guy getting back his Green Lantern ring and still also having his Red Lantern ring. So he was, as a joke, called the Christmas Lantern. Yeah, it's like, I kind of thought though this series, Bunn basically probably didn't like the dumb retcon that Robert Venditti did of how that the emotional spectrum was basically a well reservoir type of thing. Yeah. And plus, Relic did show up in the series as well. Relic did also show up for a few issues of Venditti's run, toward the end of Venditti's run during the first arc of the post-convergence issues for Green Lantern. Of course, in Lost Army, it was a younger version of him. But nonetheless, this was an okay series. The follow-up, which came right after this, which was Lost Army, this one was always going to be a mini-series. This was done by Tom Taylor, and it was actually a much better series to come after. It was actually much better. It was much more well-written. Nothing against Cullen Bunn, but I kind of felt as though he was kind of forced into a corner when it came to abruptly end of the series due to low sales. Yeah. But this series did lead into, when it ended, it led into a couple things. Simon Bosch showed up in the previous series toward the very end. It's like, where the heck have you been? Yeah, that's the thing with Simon Bosch. He was wasting potential. Now he's doing a lot better in his own team title with Jessica Cruz, the Green Lantern series, which is the ending of Lost Army. Edge Bloom did set up, and also it also helped set up the Hal Jordan Green Lantern title, also done by Venditti. Yeah, as Tom Taylor himself, currently he's writing one title for DC right now, and that's Injustice Ground Zero, which is set during the events of the Injustice Gods Among Us video game. I have heard there's going to be a follow-up to that one to kind of bridge the gap between Injustice Gods Among Us 1 and 2. The games, not the comics. Okay? Yeah. Next, Harley Quinn and Gang of Harleys. Pretty fun series overall. Launched last year. Written by Frank Terry and Jimmy Palmiotti. And also, yeah, one really weird thing about this series was that the main villain, Harley Sin, it was heavily implied in the series that she had a thing for Harley Quinn. Yep, heck, there was one issue where she was groping her a lot. Not like groping her and like it's like she really wanted to do Harley Quinn right there when she's tied to a chair. But at the end of the series, you had it where she ran into the Joker. Apparently, she was sent to Arkham Asylum for some reason. I have no idea why this was. But I don't know if Joe Palmiotti kind of plan to follow up with this at all in the main Harley Quinn title. I hope they do. But I actually thought this was a really good series. And the only reason why this series happened was because of Deadpool and the Mercs Money series. Yep. All because of that title being launched and the fact that probably DC was like, hey, we could do the same thing with Harley Quinn because we're treating her like our own version of Deadpool, even though technically they had one. He's called Lobo. Yeah. But this series was really good. I just kind of wish they would follow up with this soon. Maybe they'll follow up with it after they deal with the whole thing with this new Joker. Yep. Alright, next is Harley Quinn and Power Girl, which was done by Amanda Conner, Jimmy Palmiotti, and Justin Gray. 3 writers for 6 issues. That is something. Yeah, it just basically the explanation, the reason why that Power Girl was wearing a wedding dress. And Superman, a Bronze Age Superman character named Vortex, who basically is based upon Sean Connery from an old film of his from the 70s. Very weird character, and for some reason, apparently his mustache is sentient for some reason. Like, if his mustache gets removed, it goes right back. Yeah, it's really bizarre, this series. It wasn't terrible, per se, but it just really bizarre. Yeah. And this was just prior to Harley Quinn and Gang of Harleys. Alright? Next, of course, was Legends of Tomorrow. This series, even though it was 6 issues, initially I think it was announced as an 8-issue series, but they cut it down by 2 issues probably because DC, once again, was scared by sales figures. Really, DC. This is one of several series I've seen like this, where initially they said it was going to be this amount, but was cut down due to DC being scared of the sales figures, so they cut down certain series. Now, this series was an anthology book. It had a few. You had Firestorm, which is done by Jerry Conway, basically his creator, one of his co-creators. Metalman, which is done by Lee Wein. Metamorpho was done by Aaron Leprosy. And, of course, Sugar and Spike by Keith Giffen. All really fun stories to read. In the Metalman story, you had an appearance by Robot Man of the Doom Patrol. Yep. And Firestorm, well, Jerry Conway, according to an interview, basically writing Firestorm was such a blast to do. He actually loved doing that feature for some reason. I haven't heard Keith Giffen what he said about what he felt about doing Sugar and Spike. Sugar and Spike, it's kind of like they had the characters simply revisit old Silver Age goofiness, like having find the Batman zebra suit, or all this era. So heck, even the last issue, they ran into the Legion of Superheroes where they look in their debut appearance, where they had their names written on their costumes. Yeah, it was really funny. I thought it was a fun story to read. It was a series of one-shot stories. It wasn't like a 6-part story like the other stories were, but it was still a fun story to read. Metal Man I thought was really good, and I keep thinking maybe this will lead to another series with him. Firestorm I definitely thought was necessary to be in the series because, well, he's actually the only one who's actually on Legends of Tomorrow, and the Metamorpho one, That one I really enjoyed because this one was also the first post-Flash appearance of Metamorph himself, because the character had been remarkably absent from this continuity, and now he's finally in it. And also, as far as I can tell, they actually pretty much kept the same origin story that Bob Haney gave him back in the 60s. So I do appreciate Aaron Lipsy doing that. Firestorm is just basically following up what happened at the end of the Fury of Firestorm series, and switching out the host of Firestorm with switching out Jason Rush with Professor Stein, because, well, I'm sure Jerry Conway wanted him as the other host, not Jason Rush. Okay, next, Poison Ivy, Cycle F, and this was a pretty interesting series overall. I didn't hate it like some people probably did, but I just thought the series was pure fun. I did like the fact Harley Quinn was written out of character for this series, but it was still a good series overall. And also with this series, Poison Ivy stopped wearing her New 52 look and went back to her pre-Flashpoint Leaf Apron look. No idea why. But it was a series. I thought it was pretty good. Next, of course, was Perez, a series that was initially supposed to be 12 issues, but was cut down by 6 issues because apparently low sales. Now, from what I know about this series, the series was always going to be 12 issues, and I kept hearing a rumor that this was going to be cut down by 6 issues because DC was scared of sales figures. So yeah, 6 issues published, and of course at the end of 6 issues it says end of book 1. Who knows when DC would do release the other 6 issues for the series? But they did do a follow-up with the character thanks to a backup feature in. They followed this character of the series with a backup feature from the one-shot Catwoman Election Night. Yeah, I thought this was a pretty good series. Mark Russell did a great job. Raven series currently going on. I'm not going to really talk about it very much. It's a good series. Really wish it was ongoing. Next, of course, is a Suicide Most Wanted series. The first one they did. They have one going right now, which is about to wrap up. This one, it was a split book between Deadshot and Katana. Katana was actually written by Mike Burr, one of our co-creators. Now, this was initially going to be a regular Katana series, but because of the film, they decided to squeeze it up with Deadshot. Her story was simply the same. It's just that they paired it up with Deadshot. And they kept swapping every other issue, basically, who would lead. Like, either it was Katana or it's Deadshot. One thing I did like about this series was the fact that in the Katana stories, brought in 2 characters who had not been seen in this current continuity yet, and that's Geoforce, though he appeared out of costume, and of course the character Looker. 2 characters who were founding members of the Outsiders finally make an appearance, and also about halfway through the series, she decided to adapt her movie look, the look that she had for the movies. But in the pages of the Deathstroke story, she still had a New 52 look. Heck, even after the series wrapped up, she went back to New 52 look for some reason. I don't know why. It's really bizarre. But Mike Burr did a great job with the series. The Katana headshot, that was done by Brian Buccellato. Yep, he's the one who did that series. He's the one who did the Deadshot series. Yeah, it just dealt with basically someone to replace Deadshot. And here's the thing. The guy who think he was going to replace him, I'm referring to him as Blue Deadshot because he was wearing a blue costume, a blue variant of Deadshot's costume. A character who got killed off by Deadshot himself at the end of the series, and also Deadshot also killed his father over the course of this mini-series. But since the series was so popular, they did follow it and replaced, had the lead feature be El Diablo, and had it where, like the first couple issues got the Boomerang, issues 3 and 4 were Killer Croc, and the last couple issues right now is Amanda Waller, and that series is about to wrap up. But the only reason why I say that they did that is because the series actually sold really well. Maybe do more, who knows. And Titans Hunt, I've already discussed that. But the last minis, there's 2 more series I'm going to talk about before I talk about the other stuff for DCU. The last but not least, for miniseries wise, was the Swamp Thing miniseries done by Lee Wein. This series I thought was really good. I kind of hope maybe this will eventually lead to an ongoing series. Who knows? I thought the series was really good, and the creative team for this book was Lee Wein and Kelly Jones, the same creative team who also did the Swamp Thing Convergence miniseries. Yep, same creative team. Which, okay, good creative duo, keep them together. And this series is just basically bringing the character Matt Cable, who was actually not seen in the previous Swamp Thing series. Basically, Lee Wein brought the character into continuity. Basically, Matt Cable, in case you guys don't know, anybody doesn't know, Matt Cable was Abigail Arcane's first husband before she married Swamp Thing. Well, married Alec Holland and had, well, Tiffy Holland, who actually is not in this continuity. I don't know why she's not in it. But they had it where Alec Holland stopped being Swamp Thing during the course of the series, and Matt Cable became new Swamp Thing until the end of the series, where it was reversed. Matt Cable back to his own, and it was later revealed that he was actually controlled by somebody else. I think it was Anton. Yeah, Anton Arcane was controlling him all along. I know I'm kind of spoiling it away, but it is a great miniseries, and I actually talked a little bit about this to Brian Weinstein. He actually did not read the series, but I did recommend it to him that he could read it because, well, he worked with the writer of the series, and we help him create the character. But yeah, great series overall, and I do highly recommend it. Last series I'm going to talk about is the Batman Eternal series. Actually, I've already talked about it thanks to reviewing it already. Alright, there was a few other series that were supposed to be launched. Now, there was a few one-shots. You got Divergence, which helped set this up. You had the Harley Quinn and Suicide Squad special. This kind of led to the Suicide Squad Rebirth, current Suicide Squad series. Road Trip was pure fun. Having Harley Quinn or Road Trip with Poison Ivy and Catwoman. You have the Darkseid War one-shot for Batman, Flash, Green Lantern, Lex Luthor, Superman, and Shazam. I thought these one-shots were really good. I especially enjoyed the one about Byron Smith over Superman. This was really good. For a lot of people, they thought these one-shots not all that good. I do kind of agree with the one thing that probably the best one-shot was probably Batman, because it was written by Peter J. Tomasi, a guy who basically writes almost, at this point, was writing pretty much everything that was not written by either Scott Snyder or James Tynion IV. If he does, he writes the last stuff back. But all these one-shots I thought were really good. Let's see. What else? Oh, yes. I want to talk about also the titles that were announced but never came out. One, of course, was Mystic U, which was going to be written by, according to this, Alyssa Connie and art from Rossett. Basically, it was supposed to be like teenage versions of magical characters like Rose Psychic, which I'm not familiar with the character. And, of course, the brothers, Cain and Abel, the host of the respective series of House of Secrets and House of Mystery. House of Mystery was one point hosted by Cain. House of Secrets was hosted by Abel. As far as I know, the series never materialized. Don't know why. The other course was Dark U, was supposed to be the replacement for Justice League Dark. Also never happened because, well, the creative team left the book and pretty much folded their ideas into John Constantine's series, Constantine Hellblazer. Yeah, and the only reason why I kind of felt as though they kept the whole idea of John Constantine having his ongoing series now is because, well, the character is popular, thanks to his newsstream popularity, thanks to the TV show, and plus also the character's had an ongoing series since 1988. So yes, I kind of felt as though that maybe they could have continued with this, maybe they could have had their creative team take over, but nope. Do I think overall DC was kind of a failure? Was a failure? Not a complete one, no. It has some interesting ideas, some really good series. A lot of whom, now the only ones that did continue of the new series that launched, the only ones that continued were Batman Beyond and Cyborg were the only ones that were started with this one. And the only two to actually continue, and they're still around right now. Cyborg is published twice a month, while Batman Beyond is still monthly. Both really good series, by the way. John Stampa writes Cyborg, and of course Dan Jurgens still does Batman Beyond. But there were still good series overall. But there was a couple of series I should talk about before I end this video. One, of course, Our Society, which is going to end in a couple months. Starting off, this series was just mixed. It had good artwork overall, but one of the things I didn't like about the series, Aquaman had the same problem too, were that they had these flashbacks inconveniently in the middle of the story for a few pages that basically were very jarring. And it happened for the first. Danny Wilson's run was basically 7 issues were replaced by Dan Abnett. I didn't think the whole run was terrible that Danny Wilson did. It was kind of a disappointment, and the fact that the villain of the storyline was in fact Jimmy Olsen. I would call himself Dr. Impossible. Previously it was called The Accountable, then he called himself Dr. Impossible. I kind of felt as though that the whole flashback to Planetfall, which the Planetfall stuff I thought was really good. The present day stuff that was really, it's like one point there was actually one point where you saw that in the flashbacks where Valzad and Power Girl together. The next thing you know, they're in present day, they're no longer together. It was very jarring to say the least. I have not read the first two Earth Society trade if they somehow fixed the problem what the series had, where they had the flashbacks to Planetfall that happened in the middle of the story for no explained reason. In my honest opinion, this should have been a backup feature. Now, if they were going to put these in trade, they should have basically put them as a backup feature for the book. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. I would say the best one they did was one for Flash. Yeah. But then after Danny Wilson left the 7 issues, the remaining issues were done by, and still currently done by Dan Abnett. I definitely think these were an improvement. Still really great series overall. And as a matter of fact, they even brought in the current arc. They brought in Commander Steel. They brought him back, and he has the look from the Legends of Tomorrow TV show. Now, pretty much, the end of the series will lead into the new Earth 2 the Earth 2 series, which Dan Abnett himself is still going to be writing. And overall, I think Dan Abnett's run is actually much better than Danny Wilson. No disrespect to the writer himself, because he was one of the writers for Earth 2 World's End. But I kind of honestly felt as though that his run was a disappointment. Not a complete one per se. He had great artwork. It's just that it was kind of mixed bag and kind of jarring with the flashbacks. One thing Dan Abnett probably did as soon as he started his run was to cut out the flashbacks, just focus on the main story. Don't have like flashbacks to Planetfall. It was really dumb for them to do. But if they were going to do flashbacks to that, why not do it as a backup feature for the book? It would be better. That's my honest opinion on the matter. Plus, also, they had an annual for the series, which basically had Huntress go after John Grayson, who is Dick Grayson's son, who apparently he thought died, but actually was alive. It was never confirmed he died. But one thing I did like, though, about the series was the fact they brought in the real Ultra Humanite. The one I appeared previously, I'm like, really? That's Ultra Humanite? No, that's not Ultra Humanite. Ultra Humanite is a gorilla. It is basically a guy in a gorilla body. And the one that appeared in Earth 2 Society, that's actually the real one. And the series is getting better and better, and I think that the current arc is the best arc of the series so far. One thing else, now when the series first started off, they had Dick Grayson, where have his colors be purple and yellow, which were the colors of Batman of Zor-El. Yeah, and then about toward the end of the run, about halfway through the series, they actually explained the story very well. Is that he decided because his suit was damaged, he decided he was going to do an upgrade to it and change the colors, and pretty much he decided to use the colors used by Thomas Wayne from the previous series, the guy who got killed off during Convergence. Yeah, but. All in all, I didn't think the DCU was a failure. It did introduce good stuff. It's just that the big problem with it was the fact that some stuff wasn't promoted very well, and you had one series that was canceled really quickly, no longer after it was started. And also, they could have done it a little bit better with promoting these titles. Okay, that's all I wanted to tell for DCU Review Part 2. But a lot of these series were really good. Like some of the containing titles, like Wonder Woman and Green Lantern, was really good. I thought Batman was pretty decent. Justice League was awesome, especially with the Darkseid War. So that's something that Jeff Johns has been building up since the start of his run, which I thought was really great that he did that. And of course, the last couple issues, one was basically set up for 51 was set up for was basically a prelude to Titans Rebirth. Excuse me. And 52 was, simply put, set up for the Action Comics run currently done by. It takes place before the first issue of the current run of Action Comics by Dan Jurgens. It basically set up for it. Jeff Johns finished up with issue 50. But the Darkseid War I thought was a really good event. It had some delays here. There were some minor delays, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't as bad as Justice League, just like America was. But all in all, good event. Oh, and of course I need to talk about Savage Dawn and Final Day Superman. Savage Dawn was a pretty decent crossover in a way. One thing was heavily promoted during the event was the fact that the post-Flashpoint Superman was going to meet his counterpart from pre-Flashpoint in the final part of the story in issue 50. That never happened at all. It was a complete lie. They actually met up in the Final Day Superman crossover for 2 pages. Not kidding. Shows up for 2 pages in the crossover. And during the Final Day Superman, which apparently they mentioned the whole stuff with Darkseid War, him getting back his powers. Apparently, the Final Day Superman does take place after Darkseid War, and of course, a few other stuff. But a lot of people do agree, and I do agree with this. The Final Day Superman crossover was really, really good. It makes you feel that you really care for the post-Flashpoint Superman. I used to refer to him as the New 52 Superman. After post-Flashpoint better. But it did now all the titles written by Pierre J. Tomasi. Of course, Superman, Wonder Woman, that was the only novel he written prior to the start of the storyline. And after the story wrapped up, he stayed with Superman because this one I did hear that he was going to take over the title after the writer, what was his name? Gene Lin Yang, who currently does New Superman. Alright. Finally, Superman. Of all the crossovers that DCU had, Final Days of Superman, in my honest opinion, was the best crossover of them all. I would say number 2 was, well, Darkseid War was a self-contained event. It didn't cross over to the other series per se, but did have one-shots. But out of all of them, tied for number 1 is Darkseid War and Final Days of Superman for the best events. Number 2, I'd say, was Robin War, and I would say that the bottom one is Savage Dawn. That's how I'd rank them when it comes to the crossovers. It wasn't that many of them, per se. But I think DC was starting to learn from their mistakes. And plus, also, one of the biggest criticisms of DCU was the fact that they never cared about continuity at all. The continuity became very, very loose, per se. Okay, so that's it for this video. Stay tuned for more videos on my channel. I do have Comic Corner coming up soon. Once I finish reading this trade I'm reading right now, which is going to be a triple shot next episode. And of course, now reviews will still be coming back, and also movie reviews will be returning, where I'm going to give my own spoiler review of Assassin's Creed. I'll take care of that soon. Okay? Until then, I will see you there. Bye.